is not just a vendor. You do not just claim to be a vendor, you work to be a vendor. So we need them to be vendor. When the process, it's an ongoing process of building a vendor. So as part of the process of building a vendor, we have said, the Congress has said we need to build a Leninist vendor. That is a cadre who is schooled in Marxist-Leninist theory, who combines the theory of Marxism and practical work in improving the material conditions of the people of Zimbabwe. We said the Congress instructed us that we go out there as a second point to build or to create a class-conscious citizen. This is informed by the reality that you have in our communities, particularly when it comes to elections, where candidates from different political parties or independent candidates we want to market themselves, so to speak, to be elected as public representatives. Our approach in terms of the Congress, what instructs us, is that we build a class-conscious citizen, that the power resides with the citizens. When we lift our left fist and say Amandla, we are saying power to the people, so that the people have the power to change or to resolve their own challenges. They have the power to decide on who should be a councillor in a ward, who should be a member of parliament, and ultimately who should be the president of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So that power lies with the people of Zimbabwe, but unless you build that class-conscious citizen will not achieve that. And thirdly, Congress instructed us, because as a Marxist-Leninist party and an organ of the working class, we must build unity within the trade union movement. And we also realize that the majority of the people, workers who have been retrenched from the days of the Economic Structural Adjustment Program 1991 are now flooding the informal sector. Then there's need to unite or organize and unite the people in the informal sector organizations. And also because as we build the vendor, we must vanguard the working class and the peasants. And the peasants have their own rural organizations, which then Congress instructs us that we must work in building that unity in these different structures in our society. So that's the task that the leadership, the Central Committee that was elected by Congress, has been instructed to do. The other point which we have been instructed by Congress to do is understanding the state itself, because Congress was arguing that in contesting an election, I know when we were coming here, the journalist, the first question was, are you contesting in 2023? And you said you will answer the question when we are here. The argument from the Congress is that while the reality is that you elect your public representatives through a democratic process of electing your public representatives, either as MPs, as senators, whatever the case might be. But we exist as a party to contest for state power. We do not exist to contest for election. It becomes two different things. Congress gave us an example of Comrade President Moraes, who won an election, but today is in exile in Mexico. He won an election, but was told by the general, the leader of the army, to say, no, chief, resign. So then the question which the Congress had to deal with was, what does it mean to contest an election? What is the difference between contesting an election and contesting for state power? Can you win a state power only through the route of an election, or you can win state power through other routes? And also the Congress then had to analyze the state itself. What is the state from a Marxist perspective, the state apparatus and so forth. Therefore, Congress, after this analysis, Congress then resolved that we need to win over state organs. As the Zimbabwe Communist Party, if we are to complete the liberation of Zimbabwe, we need to win over state organs. The reason why Congress says we need to win over state organs is precisely because if you observe, particularly in January 2019, when the workers go on strike, the military is sent into the streets to shoot the ordinary workers. But also it has its roots in the characterization of the Zimbabwean state, in the manner in which we've characterized. We've characterized the post-2017 November that we're in a deep state, which is practices militaristic capitalism. A deep state is basically your military state. So if you are to heal, we've heard others talking about healing the coup, but as communists in this Congress, we say the only way to heal that is to wean the organs of the state as we seek to complete the liberation of Zimbabwe. We are saying that because we do not well review, based on our scientific analysis, that dating back from colonialism in 1890, going through the liberation struggle and so forth, we are not yet free because the economy is not in our hands. This is why the Congress then says, from where we are currently in this economic crisis, as a party that is pursuing scientific socialism, we cannot switch to simple transit or press a button, a remote button to say we are now in a socialist Zimbabwe. But Congress then says we must build stages, build blocks. So Congress says the first step that we need to do is to build a democratic economy. Our document, which speaks about building the democratic economy, it speaks about our cooperation with the capitalists in building the economy, which we would call the patriotic bourgeoisie, because the reality is where we are, we cannot run away from a patriotic bourgeoisie. We need to then begin to say, how do we work with the patriotic bourgeoisie to rebuild the economy, to restore production in our industries, to restore production on the farms, to defeat this cancer, corruption, the looting, because our enemy is the looting class. So Congress then instructs us to say, find ways of working with the patriotic bourgeoisie. But for us to achieve this, Congress says we must maintain our stance that there must be a national economic dialogue, as opposed to this current dialogue that is ongoing, because the current dialogue, the views expressed by Congress is that it is a meeting of losing 2018 presidential candidates. Most of them do not represent their constituents, and this current dialogue does not include the working class, your business people, your farmers. So when we talk of the rebuilding of the economy, you need to speak to those that produce at the workplace, and these are the workers. Those that own the means of production, these are your capitalists, and this is why we're saying, therefore, let's build this democratic economy. But also because as a Zimbabwe Communist Party, we've defined our struggle as a struggle against the anti-imperialism, and their stooges whom had been Zimbabwe were declaring war on that, and also we are anti the looting, as we have already said. But for us to take forward our struggle against imperialism is for us to build what we call proletarian internationalism. This is what the Congress demands of us as we go forward. So these are the issues in terms of what is to be done, because the Congress analyzed the Zimbabwean situation, the crisis in the banking sector, that people can't access their money, 18 hours load shedding, people go for 3-5 days without water. An example was given to us that in Harare, people do not drink water from their taps. The issues of climate change, if we're not careful, Manicaland, as we know it, Mozambique and so forth, might be covered in water, and what does it mean? And we all see that the seasons, farming season has changed because of the issues of climate change and global warming. So what then does a communist party do, or how does it respond? And then we have to discuss what needs to be done, or simply putting what then said what is to be done. This is what the Congress then instructed us, the 36 issues that I've tabulated. So that's the Congress of the Zimbabwe Communist Party. The last point is that we are now going to our communities to build the Zimbabwe Communist Party. We hope to convene in 3 years' time in 2022 to reflect on the work that we have done, and then resolve on our position in respect to the 2023 elections, because the Congress